I'm Louisa Wilcox. This is Let's Get Wealthy. I hope to bring to you some interesting insights into business, life, and money. Thank you for listening. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Get Wealthy. I have the wonderful Sharon Thomas with me today. Now, Sharon Thomas is a midlife business mentor, and we've been connected on Facebook for probably coming up 2 years now, I reckon. It's been quite a while, hasn't it, Sharon?
Yeah,
And just before we actually started recording this podcast, we had a bit of a chat and a bit of a catch up, which has been wonderful because Sharon's journey is really interesting and I think quite unique. And I absolutely love the fact that you are a midlife business mentor because I haven't actually seen anyone doing similar or calling themselves similar. So I'd love it if you could tell us a bit about yourself and why you're doing what you're doing.
thanks, Louisa. And I also love that chat. You're always so busy. It's really hard to get hold of you, pin you down, and have proper conversations. So no, this is really great. Thank you. My journey is very, as my husband would say, it's very color. It's been colourful, and I love doing what I do now because of what happened and what I've done before. So right now, what I do is I help people, women usually, who are probably a bit on the other side of midlife, but there's a whole other debate about what is midlife anyway. So people sort of 45 plus who have come to a point in their lives where they either want to set a business up or they've got a business and it's not working for them because for various reasons, really. I think when you get to a certain age in your life, you come to a point where you question all the things that you have done and why you're doing them now. You can probably think about maybe when you're on the change and stuff, and you lack of confidence starts to come in, and you're questioning of yourself, your circumstances, your family life, and all of those things all become intertwined. And often I think what then happens is you question the job that you're doing. And by the time you get to your mid 40s, you've got so many skills and passions. It's sometimes a great part of your time in your life to ramp it up a bit and do it for you, not because your employer tells you to do it. And it's taken a while to take off, but it is beginning to work. People are beginning to see, and it's emotive. So what's made me think that I can do this? Lots of things, really. I've had lots of businesses over my career. I've done lots of different things. I've been a textile designer. I've been a florist. I've been a lecturer at a college with floristry. I've ran an overseas distribution for beauty products and healthcare products and things. And latterly, through various reasons, we started a cleaning agency. Am I a cleaner? No. Can I clean? Yes.
Yeah.
So what happened was around about 15 or 16 years ago, we had a very successful, my husband had a successful advertising agency and it did really well. We earned a lot of money. And life, if I'd have only realised it then, was amazing. I thought I wasn't living my dream, but actually I was living my dream. And we had fabulous holidays. We took a child at a private school. It was good. It was really, really good. And one by one, a lot of these accounts drifted away. And we ended up with one, the usual story. One client paid a lot of money. It was fantastic until they sold that business. And when they sold that business, the person who took it over didn't want Graham Services anymore. And we could see it coming. And we tried to make kind of, what's the word, Louisa? Provision for that event to happen. But it happened quicker than we thought. So house had to be rented out, which eventually was sold. Lots of things that weren't very pleasant happened. And we had an apartment in Spain. Let's go there and we'll go and lick our heels and regroup. But no, we rushed into it, which is what we were talking about before. Quick decision, need to make some money, need to get back to where we were before. We'll buy this distributorship in Spain. And it worked for a while. It was good. But then their recession hit. Yeah. So that went. So you can see by now we're getting weak. I'm getting weaker and tired and tired. We came back to England. I won't go through all the details because you'll all need massive hankies and things, but we were okay in life. We were all right. Graham got a job and that went all right. He did really well in this job, but then they made him redundant. And we were like, right, that's the last time anybody ever dictates to us about how we run our lives. So what we did was we worked out what it was that we could do that would be on a repeat revenue kind of thing. And don't forget, we've both got loads of business acumen from in the past. So we got a great big piece of paper. I've still got it. I'll sometimes post it on social media. It's a massive, big, huge A1 piece of paper on the table, marker pens, and we created this. What could we do that would give us a repeat income that was low cost to start, that would give us that revenue that we wanted? And we came up with something that I was absolutely, I'm ashamed to say, horrified about the thought of doing. And that was to run some kind of domestic cleaning or commercial cleaning agency. We went and looked at franchises. We had some money to view to set up by a franchise. Graham said to me, now we can do this. We don't need a franchise. We can set it up with his creativity and design. So that's what we did. We set it up and we got paid someone to help us with social media. And we decided that if we picked up a client and we lost a client, that's not going to stop us eating.
Yeah.
And it's not going to stop us doing anything. And that's, I still believe that today. So it grew and it grew and it grew. And I think late last year, we had 250 hours a week. And I don't clean. So we had all the staff and the crew. We still have them. We don't do as many hours now out of design because we can switch the tap on. We can switch the tap off. So if we don't feel like taking any more people on, we don't. And that has meant we now have a solid income, a secure life. We don't earn like he used to earn. But you know what? Life's a lot happier now.
That's important, isn't it?
And it absolutely is. Yeah. And you know, that I felt guilty that we lost that business and I felt we'd done something wrong, but actually we hadn't, because you can't control what other people do.
No. And it's like a journey through your life, isn't it? Because what you've been through is very brave, resilient, and very inspirational, but it's also brought you to where you are now. And it's a massive life learning. So at the time, it served you. And then you went on a journey as to where you are today, and obviously what brought you into mentoring other people now.
Yeah. So that was interesting, that because that kind of, so we're good, we're all fine. I love where I live. We live in a fantastic 110-year-old end terrace cottage, which is like a TARDIS, and I love it. Had those things not happened, we wouldn't be here now. So your values, it's all about your values and your integrity and all the different things. So I knew I needed to step back from cleaning crew a little bit, and I knew that I wanted to try and create something else, but I didn't really know what it was. And again, impulse, I listened to a course run by Lisa Johnson, and I signed up for it. And the original idea was that I was going to just help people set up a cleaning business, but actually now I don't do that. I do it, but it's open to anybody, because the emotions as you get older are very much heightened. You haven't got the energy to fight in the way that you used to have, and you shouldn't need to fight. It's just it should be easy. It shouldn't be difficult. And there are more than one way to skin a cat. There's lots of ways to create a simple business that can bring in a revenue that acknowledges your age. That doesn't mean you're old. You know, you might want to go to the gym 5 times a week, God forbid. You might want to, you might want to join an amateur operatic society, whatever it is you want to do, but you still need to earn some money. You still need to have some focus. And I love doing this now. I absolutely think it's a brilliant thing to do.
So your business, you're mentoring now, is that what you're doing? You're helping people make their business, their life work in a way that, well, in the way that they want, so they can actually enjoy their life.
Yes, definitely. Because I've done what you're probably doing now, where when I was teaching at the college, I would, and it was like running a business because I set a department up all by myself. I created the department on my own. And I used to push a trolley down the corridors at the college with books on and buckets of flowers. And then eventually I grew that course so that it was 5 days a week with its own department in it. But the children at the time were quite, I can't remember how old they all were. I think Amy was the youngest, was 5, and her dad worked from home, so he could go and pick her up from school, which I have no issue with. But then I'd come home, slam some food at them, and then I was upstairs on the computer creating documents. So that kind of life, actually, I don't really think is the right kind of life as you get older. You don't, it's wrong way around if you think about it, because you then have the time to do it, but you haven't got the energy.
Things
They've
definitely
survived.
change. I think
Yeah.
your focus changes as you get older as well. And I think when you have sorry, I just hit the microphone, so it's why I went, oh sorry.
Okay, don't worry.
When you have children, you have to be quite energetic anyway. You have to be on the go, and you almost have
Yes.
that more focus and a drive because you're very aware of not having all the hours in the day. But as you get older, it is about slowing down and being able to, I mean, you enjoy your life when you have children, but being able to actually live life more for you, because your purpose
Yes.
changes a little bit, doesn't it? But obviously it's being very aware of your body too, and things you might have been able to do in your 20s, your 30s, especially for women. As we get older, our bodies do change, and it's being aware of that and making sure we take the time to look after ourselves and being able to run a business around that, and for us, and to create a wealthy life. That's basically what you're teaching people to do.
Yeah.
There's power in that, isn't it? And it's giving us the freedom,
Totally.
the life freedom to actually go,
Yes.
it's okay to do things a little bit different. Because the way society is, and it's changed a lot since COVID, but the way society is that you should be working constantly, doing things that's a 9 to 5, always on the go. And if you want to be really successful, you have to actually be working more than 9 to 5, doing 60, 70-hour weeks to bring
Correct.
the money in. But actually, we don't live in that kind of society anymore. We can do things so much easier online. The world has changed very quickly, quite drastically in the last few years, but also our perception of life has changed as well. I think COVID, for a lot of us, drove a bit of reality home as to how the world was going in this fast-paced environment. And so many more of us are looking to slow down and enjoy every single moment, because we don't know, we might not have next year. You just don't know. And it is so important that we remember that when we go through this, we need to take time for ourselves. And I actually put out a post on Facebook today because I met someone, a friend, for breakfast this morning, and I put on there, take some time out for you, because you are
Mm.
building up a business. But as we're building up a business, you think, oh, I need to be spinning all the plates, doing all these things all the times, whether that's creating food for your children, doing the housework, and being a wife, looking after the house, running a business, and then remembering that you've got all these appointments and everything else that comes in with life.
Mm.
Sometimes we have to go, actually, we need to take a step back, and we are allowed to change our diary. And it's having that permission to go, I want to do something different, which is
Right.
a little bit different to the normal, or different to how society tell us we should be doing things. Like when I was at school, I remember, you probably had the same. You had a career day when they went and told you what your career should have been. And I can't remember, mine was something ridiculous. I wanted to be an archaeologist, and it definitely didn't come up with that. It was like something to do with like a building assistant or something really random, and there's no way I'd be doing that. It was crazy. But it was talking about the 9 to 5 typical job. Nowhere did we learn about creating a business, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner,
No.
and living life in a way where we can actually go and enjoy it, because we need
Mm.
to enjoy life, don't we? We really have to enjoy every single moment. And that's whether we take an hour out to go for, I don't know, a run, go to the gym, or to go out and meet a friend, or go for a walk, whatever that is. We kind of, I suppose, as we get older and as we go through this, it feels almost like we need that permission to change and break away from the norm.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I have a friend who's older than I am, and she used to sort of be on the go all the time, fighting to do things. And I was probably a little bit like that. And you know, we have this bit of a standing joke between us now. And she had one child and I had three. And I'd go, oh, I need to do the ironing. And she'd go, ironing? I've got a massive ironing pile. I bet it's bigger than your ironing pile. And I was like, no, how can it possibly be? You've got one child and I've got three. But it really was kind of like, it was really illustrative about that point, about the way for a few years, I reckon about 10, 15 years, it was who was the busiest. It was almost like a subconscious competition to be the busiest. And that sitting down with a coffee and looking out the window was like, what? You sit and do nothing. What's wrong with you? And I kind of hope that that changes, because actually there's nothing wrong with sitting, looking out the window with a cup of coffee and taking time to think. And that should happen to anybody at any age. It doesn't matter about your age. And I'm hoping that from that whole thing, like my daughters are in the mid-40s, can't quite believe that really, and ranging from 42 to, oh no, 40 to upwards 46. And I hope that they've learned the lessons that actually it's time. You can't get that time back. And if I can help people create a business or a job or a something that gives them the money that they feel they need and the use of their grey matter, and yet they can still carry on around and do the things they want, well, then that's absolutely perfect. Job done. So I'm meeting some fascinating people and doing some, you know, I have a client that's an accountant. I have a client who is an ex-teacher who was set up art clubs. I have a client who is into self-help and hypnotherapy. And I have one who makes does needle pointing, needle felting, and another one who's a storyteller. And there's more, and that's just fabulous. How fantastic to have all those people in your world that you can help just keep calm.
It's interesting, isn't it? And especially that's such a range of different jobs and skills as well. And you would think that, especially someone who's a storyteller, that they would be quite slow anyway. So it's really interesting that even someone who is doing that kind of role would be looking to slow down. I find that very fascinating because especially like you, I'm very much on the online world with both my businesses. They're both online based. And I mean, next year I'm looking to do some in person. But the only issue with the online world is it feels mentally draining and fast paced.
And it is.
Yeah, it's very fast paced. But what we have to remember is people are only showing you snapshots of their business. And these people that we see that are constantly on social media and everywhere, they normally have built their business up years ago and have a team around them, but they're not talking about that anymore. So those of us who are new in business, the world is very different to them when they started, and the way we are doing things is very different. And especially again since COVID, the world has changed, and the way that we perceive things has changed, and the way people want knowledge and information has changed. And it's a learning curve, but it is very, very noisy and fast paced online. And even now we are still expected to be able to do so much that we just need to take that step back and go, actually, no, I can't do all of that. It's okay not to do all of that. I can do it next year and that will be okay. It's not saying you're never going to do it, but it's giving yourself that time and the opportunity to just slow down and enjoy the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think it's really, really, I think it's really important. And it's not, like I say, it is an age thing, but it's also, it should be a way of life anyway, whatever your age is, it should be paid attention to, that it's okay to not do something, you know.
I think we've definitely seen, I've certainly seen a huge rise of burnout. There's a massive amount of burnout. Yeah. I admit I've burnt out.
Yeah.
I burnt out this year whilst I went through everything with my son and didn't even see it coming because my coping mechanism was to work. And it wasn't until I had to stop and I was sat there and went, I can't do this anymore while she sat in hospital. And the thing that tipped me over the edge was really, really silly. I ordered a coffee, and I paid for it and was waiting, stood there waiting for half an hour in between my son's hospital appointment. We were staying in hospital for 2 weeks at this time, both majorly sleep deprived, absolutely exhausted, and they forgot my coffee, and they served about 6 people before me. And I went, I'm waiting for my coffee. I don't suppose you've made it. And he went, oh, I'm really sorry, I forgot about you. And then I had to leave because my son's appointment was in like 5 minutes. I had to get to the 10th floor of the hospital, which, if you know, hospitals waiting for a lift is an absolute nightmare. And I literally, it just tipped me over the edge. I just broke down, full hysterics all over a coffee. But it wasn't the coffee, it was
No.
the burnout, I think, from everything. And that was when I went, yeah, this needs to change. And for me, you know, I was 29, I turned 30 just after that. So I'm not really someone, you know, in a 45, but
Doesn't
no,
matter, Louisa.
no,
It
this is
doesn't.
just it. And we
Yeah.
have to actually go, actually, sometimes the way we do things or the way we've been told or taught how to do things is not the way that we should. And it's interesting. I had a conversation with someone earlier this week, and what we forget about is when we go back years ago, and I'm talking years ago, so say like my grandparents, what we forget about was when men went to work and they brought home a wage, it was enough to pay for the cost of living. The women were home looking after the home and the children. Not all women. I'm not, you know, not categorizing
No,
like
no,
that,
no,
but
you're right. You're
that
right.
that was generally the woman was the
Yes.
homemaker and the men went to work, but that was enough to pay for your lifestyle, because people lived a very different lifestyle then. It
Simple.
wasn't this jet style luxury life that we're sold now. And now we're kind of like almost in this generation that's kind of like finding the footing of trying to navigate this modern world then of the woman having to do absolutely everything, juggle every single plate, still expected to work, look good, go to the gym, not put weight on, put the
Yeah.
makeup on, make sure you're looking sexy on the school run and not in your pajamas and your slippers, because God forbid you drop your children off in your pajamas when they're fully dressed, fed and out the door, you know, they're then totally judged on news and social media. It's a whole different world. And
It
when men
really is.
now,
Yeah.
or we go to work, very rarely is it even enough now to provide for the household. So the whole way that we are living now is so different and new. So sometimes these old concepts we are sold, and even in the business world, it just doesn't work anymore.
No, no, it doesn't. And it's interesting that you say that because there's a whole other conversation. This has got nothing to do with age. And there was something I read a while ago about saying, oh, women have it all now. And actually, women have it all and some,
Yeah.
because so yes, you can go on holiday on your own and no one will blink an eye. And yes, you can go to work. And yes, you can go to the pub on your own and you get equal pay 9 times out of 10. But the problem still is, and I'm very lucky, and I know I'm not lucky, it's the way it is. You are. We've both got incredibly supportive partners. And my two daughters who are married, one's single with a baby, with a little boy, they've got great partners. But what Amy still says, and she has a fantastic job, and she still says, I have to make sure that Robin knows what after school clubs are, what time the football starts, what time gym starts, what if she's not home, what's for tea, da, 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 da. So not only has she got it all, but she's also got some, because you know Robin will do anything. He will do anything for her. But the ideas still have to come from the woman still, and that's going to take a long time. I'm not saying all men, I'm not saying that at all, you know, but it's that whole thing. It still comes from you. And so therefore what you have, what we all wanted women to have, they have, but they still have all the others. So it's no wonder that they get to their mid late 40s and they're like, I have had enough. I am done. I need some time for me. Get it? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you do. It does. It goes to the burnout stage, doesn't it? And that's, I think, when it probably hits. And then, of course, when you're in your 40s, we get all of the other additional things of the change of hormones, peri and menopause, all the rest of it coming into play. That mentally, it's hard anyway, and physically, it's hard, isn't it? And that is when you need to go, I really need to slow down and start looking after yourself in other ways, because even now I'm you know, I just turned 30 this year, and I'm quite lucky because obviously being on social media I'm connected with quite a few women who are older than me, and they talk about the perimenopause and the menopause. So I'm quite aware of it and looking after your body. But we don't, even again, if we go back to school, we're not, as women and even boys and men are not taught really properly in depth about hormones and how to look after themselves. And it's only really been even over the last year or last couple of years that it's becoming more known about how it affects the body and how it affects us and the way that we are. Because it's almost like a huge, as far as I mean, I'm not going through it, but for people I've spoken to, it's like a huge sense of loss, isn't it? And it's things happening to your body that you don't necessarily understand. But it's becoming more known. But I'm quite lucky myself because I'm connected to these people. So I've kind of like, right, okay, I need to be doing that. And simple things like making your body stronger by strength training and how it can actually help your bones as you get older and things like that. And it's just going, right, okay, as we get older, we need to slow down. We need to take that step back because life is different. It's okay to do that. And, you know, when I'm in my 40s, I might even be a grandparent for all I know, because I had children quite young. So, you know, when I'm 40, my eldest will be 20 and my youngest will be 15, 16. So it's very possible that I could actually be a grandparent. So life changes then, doesn't it, as well?
It does change, yeah. And I think the thing is as well, when you're saying all these things and have this kind of conversations with my elder daughter, and she put it really succinctly the other week, and she said, there's so much that you get told, do this, do that, don't do that, eat protein, don't eat protein, eat carbs, don't eat carbs, work out, do this, do that. She said, and in the end, she switched it all off.
Yeah.
Because it's too much. And all I'm going to say is actually, it's something to embrace and be excited about, because it's not a fearful time, those years now. And that this worries me, concerns me, that young people like yourself will be thinking, oh, I'm going to become a shriveled up old wreck. Well, actually, you're not. I've got news for you. You're not. That takes longer. But and it's just different, but it's in its way, it's just wonderful. You know, obviously you don't have the mess that you have when you're on your period and all of that lot, but it brings a lot of joy, of inner joy. And we often say now, and even 15 years ago, there's a reason why we have children when you're younger and not when you're older. And it's, you know, we still say, even now, we don't have to rush home for tea. We don't have to get back to make tea because there's no one there anymore to worry about. And if we just want to have a fried egg on toast or go out to the pub, well, that's what you can do. And it's a different feeling, but it's really wonderful. It's not something to be fearful of. It's an exciting time because it's the time to look forward to. Each stage in your life is, I think, you have to, you know.
A new journey and a new adventure, isn't it? And
absolutely is.
Finding yourself too, because we change as we get older as well.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and we have interesting conversations about this in our house, and men don't question it in the way that women do. It's just, you know, it's just not something that they question. And the new woman, like yourself and my daughters, they question everything. They question the ins and outs of a duck as to why that, you know, why you do this and why you don't. And if I tried to tell them, they would have laughed at me. You have to find it out for yourself. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, definitely. Information is a lot more available now as well, isn't it? But I do think you have to be careful with the noise. And like you said, your daughter did, you have to shut it off and know when to shut it off, because that's also can lead to overwhelm and also burnout too, because you can be pulled in lots of different directions. I mean, was it the 5 a.m. club? And I remember seeing at the beginning of the year about 5 a.m. club. And I admit last year I was doing a lot of running, and I was up at 5 and I was running, and then I got to Christmas and January time and I physically just couldn't get out of bed, and I thought, oh gosh, why? And this year, and I exercise, I go boxing once a week, I run, and I do some exercise videos on my YouTube and things, and I do it a few times a week because I enjoy it, and for me it's my mental health more than physical. It's mental health for me. It keeps my mind clear. But I haven't been able to actually get up, and I've been getting up 7, half 7, nearly 8 o'clock, and then of course you've got to get the kids to school. It's a massive panic, but even they haven't been getting up, and it's only since the clocks went back recently I've been waking up at 5:45, 6, and I've been like, oh, I'm actually awake. But then I see these people, these 5 a.m. club, and even again, it is that pressure that you should be doing something like that. When actually,
Yeah.
no, stop. What does your body need? My body needed that rest. It doesn't matter what time I went to bed, I needed that rest. You need to let your body recover and do
Yeah.
it. Because these things that we're saying you have to do, you should be doing. Yes, you do need to look after your body. You should eat well, but it's okay. Yes, you can actually have the cake and eat it. It's okay to eat that cake. You need to have a mixture of it, and one burger every now and again is not going to kill you. Okay, if you gorge on it every
No.
single day, it's a bit different, but it's about listening to your body and going, okay, yes, I need to maybe just give it a rest and slow down, and maybe just avoid doing that, but then
Yeah.
also listen and go, actually, yeah, I do need to be moving too. And again, it's that whole difference. As we get older, we need to be moving more, but actually we do need to slow our bodies down too, and it's moving it in a different way
Yeah.
and doing things slightly different, isn't it? So it's mentally different too.
And I think when I think back to 10 years ago, when I was in my early 50s, I was like, still had that huge amount of energy to do so many things. It was just that I didn't want to do something for somebody else. I wanted to do something for me. So therefore you have the chance to choose. So I'm not for 1 minute thinking and saying that somebody in their 40s and 50s should sit rocking in their park and old armchair, because I don't even do that. But do you know what I'm trying to say? So even then, it's not about always slowing. It's about choosing what you do.
Yeah,
I think it's that really
being
in a
mindful.
Yes, I think so. And I think it's that for me is important. You know, I still like to work. I still want to do things. I get great joy from helping people. And let's face it, the money that comes in from that, because it is a business, and there's no reason to do it, because if I hadn't got the business, I'd have to find something else. So for me, now, this time of life that I'm in, I enjoy helping people, and I enjoy seeing their journey and seeing them find that peace, but also finding that success that they want. And it's not necessarily a 40-hour-a-week success.
Yeah, and it's also setting them up for retirement as well, creating that type of business that you can, or even maybe even their children too, if they decide to pass the business on. So it is more than just them, isn't it? It's the
Yeah,
impact it has in the long
yeah,
run.
yeah. It definitely is. And I think, I know people who've retired. I know people who've retired and they worry about they have nothing else in their lives, and that scares me crazy. It's just like, let's go to the supermarket, and they're not old people, but and having that like one thing a day to do, and I can do 20 things in a day still. I still do that. And then I know other people who've retired early because they were in that financial position where they could, but they still work, but they
Yeah.
work to suit themselves. The guy who does some woodwork, he worked for years, and he created a fantastic business for the company he worked with, and then he retired because it was too stressful, it was too pressured. But he's so good with his hands, and he makes wood. He comes and he built our fence at the back, and he built some wardrobes for somebody else, but he just does it when it suits him, and the rest of the time he goes on holiday.
And my neighbour,
Tell me what's wrong.
my neighbour's mid-70s, and he retired last year. And after the fence between our properties blew down, and I was going to get someone in to repair it. And I went out one day, come back, and he had a new fence built. And he's mid
Yeah,
70s. And I think, blimey, he's still out cutting all the gardens, going off around the neighbourhood, helping other people.
mm.
And because for him to slow down, and I remember having a conversation with him, and he said, I just can't stop. He said, it's just, I've always worked, I've always done it. So even, mid 70s, he's out building fences. And I think,
Yeah,
blimey, I don't even know how to
yeah,
build a fence.
yeah.
So
And then go on.
I was going to say, is there a bit of advice you can give for anyone in their 20s and 30s before they reach the ages of 45 to set them up ready for that next stage as to building up their business?
I think that would be a fantastic thing to do. I think that often we don't look at that. We don't look at what's going to happen because we're so busy today. But, and we're so busy in the moment that we don't think about it. But I kind of think if I was talking to Louisa now, I would say to Louisa, have in your mind a calm idea of something and a way you want to live your life when you get to a certain age. So you think to yourself, okay, so when I'm 45, how old will the boys be? Where will they be? What will they be doing? What would I want to do? Would I still want to work? Yes, I would. So I need to look at my skills. You've got these amazing skills that you have with your bookkeeping. I will still do my bookkeeping, but I will keep it to what I need just for me or with other people around me. There's no reason why you can't have people, sub bookkeepers around to try and spend time creating a simple plan that would fit into your life. You know, our agency, we have 24 people who we employ, and they are out working for us when we're in Malaga next week.
Lovely. You have to share some photos.
You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
You see where I'm going? So that's not about little Louisa just doing her own little bit. Is there a way that Louisa can create something that has an income that she wants, that's got this residual income that comes in without her having to sweat over it?
Changing your business and growing it
in a different way.
Thank you very much for coming on today, Sharon. Is
You're
there
welcome.
a way that anyone can contact you? How do we find you?
You can find me through the newbusinessmatchmaker.com website. You can connect with me on there. You can You can connect with me on Instagram. It's my favorite place at the moment. Through the Midlife Business Mentor. That's the easiest place.
If you can please pass me those links, I'll pop it in the show description for anyone.
I will. Yeah, I will.
Thank you so much for coming on. This has been really wonderful, and I'm actually really looking forward to listening to this podcast back. It's great hearing and talking to you about your business, what you do, and just a chat as well. So thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Keep in touch.
Yeah, and you. Thank you very much.
All right, sweetheart. Take care. Bye.
Did you know that as well as being a money strategist, I'm also a qualified bookkeeper and have been working in finance for the last 15 years? I know I don't look old enough. My favourite thing to do is help fellow entrepreneurs get on top of their business and personal money. And Lord knows the vast majority of them are desperate to get it sorted once and for all so that they can get on with doing what they do best, looking after the business. My goal is to help as many as I can create their own wealthy life. Money is important, but in this entrepreneurial journey, you need to make sure you are creating a business that enables you to live life how you want to be living it. Live life on your own terms and be financially free. To do this, you need to create your own wealth by learning how to handle both your personal and business finances, but also ensure you are pouring from a full cup by looking after yourself too. Create a business that aligns with your personal dreams. So right now, if you find yourself in a pickle with your money, and let's face it, we never seem to have enough, do we? Then it might be time for you to get some help and accountability. In my membership, The Financially Fearless, which starts from just £22 per month, we get to work as a group on updating our accounts every single month. We learn about profit, forecasting, and all those weird and wonderful phrases being thrown about and what they actually mean. And to top it off, I am a money strategist in your pocket, and every month you get to ask me for my advice as a professional on any aspect of your finances. This is such amazing value that one of the members said that these things alone make the Financially Fearless membership the best membership she is part of. As soon as you learn how to work with cash flow, become confident in making spending decisions, are able to set budgets so that you can invest in your business, and more importantly, pay yourself, then life and business becomes so much easier and less stressful. And if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of your finances and have my eyes on your money with one-to-one support, I also offer individual coaching where we really work to take control of your financial future and enable you to master the art of money. I will help you gain a positive mindset. You'll gain a deep understanding of your business and personal finances, maximizing your profitability and creating a solid financial foundation, helping you to create long-term wealth. You need to be creating a conscious spending plan, and I will help you to create this. Well, that was a mouthful, But if you want to go down this route, be prepared to do what it takes, because I am determined to help you create your own wealthy life. Are you in? If you are in, make sure to contact me. You can send me an email by emailing louisa@louisawilcox.co.uk, or you can search for me on most social media channels by searching for @Louisa Wilcox Strategist. Thank you.